Hey, everybody, this is Angela, and you're listening to Five Picks and a Chick featuring El Gato. This is a show that gives you five NFL picks for people who love football and friendly wagering. Today, we are joined by our special guest, Big Zay. Hey, thanks for being with us today, Big Zay.
Thank you guys for bringing me back. Ready to talk some football. Week 12. I can't believe it's here.
I know I said that earlier. I cannot believe we're talking about week 12, but we are.
Here
Hey,
we are.
El Gato, last
Yeah.
week I went 2-3. You went 3-2. My season record is 31 wins, 24 losses. Yours is 34 wins, 21 losses. I'm at 56%, you're at 62%. So still both of us are above 500.
That's great. Either the games last week could have gone. I mean, there were some of them that could have gone either way. You had a tough one with the Bengals and
Oh
Chargers.
my gosh.
Uh, those Chargers, I know we'll talk about this maybe in the podcast during the podcast main section, but the Chargers got out to a fast start, really running away with that game. Bengals come all the way back, and then just to give it up the way they did was awful. I was feeling for you a little bit, but I was able to get the over on that one, so I was happy. But
Yeah.
that's how close these games are. It's a possession or two, and usually comes down to the fourth quarter. But you're right, we're both on the winning side season wise, so we'll take it.
I agree. Yeah, that Bengals one was tough to take because not only did I have it in our podcast, I also had it in an office football pool that we do, and that game cost me winning it all. So, but
Oh,
we move on. We
that's
move on.
yes, we sure do. Yeah, somehow we have to move on from the football pool. That was tough.
Yeah, that was a tough one to take. My first pick is going to be Seattle versus Arizona. This game is a pick 'em. This is a battle for first place in the NFC West, where actually one game separates first from last. Arizona is currently the first place team. They've won four in a row, but those games have actually been at home and against teams that really aren't playing very well. I think Seattle has momentum off of their big win last week, which was an exciting game. Geno Smith, last drive against the Niners, wins the game. That was really exciting. So I am going to go with Seattle. I'm hoping they haven't used all their juice from last week and they cover. What are your thoughts on this game, Big Zay?
Yeah, Angela, like you said, the Cardinals they had a little bit of a cupcake schedule, but needless to say, these are still NFL teams, and each win is a good win. I'm gonna roll with the Cardinals on this one. I think they're rolling right now. Kyler's in kind of in the MVP talk if you think about it right now, and you know it. I, in my opinion, you can go either way on this game. See Seattle coming off a very good win against a, if you think about it, fully loaded 49er team. But at the end, I'm going to roll with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals on this one.
What are your thoughts on this game, El Gato?
Oh, this was a tough selection. The love-hate relationship I had with Geno Smith and Seattle. Every time I go, I have faith in that guy. Then he's a turnover machine. The following game, but I'm going to go with Seattle on this one. They've had a couple of two decent games. And the key to Seattle coming up out on top will be, excuse me, stopping the Arizona run game. If they can neutralize the run game, that limits a lot of what Arizona can do and what Kyler Murray can do. He's not if they're holding the line of scrimmage, that he has the inability to scramble, extend plays, and then he's got to rely on his passing skills and the receivers to advance the ball and extend drives and get first downs. And that's a tough go for Arizona when they can turn them one dimensional. So, and Gino also protecting the football. He had a great game last week against 49ers. The defensive front held McCaffrey, albeit not the same McCaffrey we saw last year, a couple of years ago, but still holding him down to less than 50 yards or 60 yards, whatever he had in that ball game, and they came out with a win. So they get a couple of pieces back on the defensive line. Metcalf is back for Seattle. I'm speaking of. So I think this is a good spot for them at home. With the lead for the division, a game against a rival. So I'll go with Seattle on this one.
My second pick is going to be Ravens -3 at the Chargers. This is a battle of the brothers. Chargers are playing as good as anybody right now, but this is a major step up in competition in the Ravens. John has gotten the best of his brother Jim in the past. I think he'll do it again in this game. Ravens cannot make mistakes in this game if they want to beat the Chargers and cover. So, Chargers played the Bengals last week and they were up big. They almost lost that game. I'm hoping that that took a lot out of them. So, I'm going with the Ravens -3. What are your thoughts on this game, Big Zay?
I'm going to agree with you on this one. I love the Ravens. I love them so much. When they lose, I find it very hard to believe that they actually do lose. Um, but no, I just think just when you have two MVP caliber players in the backfield with Henry and Lamar Jackson, it's a dangerous duo right there, and it's going to be like that till the end. The only thing is, Baltimore's defense, they give up some plays with the passing game. I think if they step it up a little bit and they can hold their own, I think that they run away with this one pretty comfortably.
What are your thoughts on this game, El Gato?
You know what? I'm going to go on the other side of this one. I'm going to go with the Chargers at +3, and I'll tell you why. The Chargers are playing some pretty nice complementary football on both sides of the ball, of the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively. We've seen what Herbert can do, what he's done throughout the year. He's hit his passes, he's hit his targets, he's extended plays with his legs. About 5 weeks ago, he did have a lower leg or ankle injury that kind of held him back a little bit, but now he seems pretty healthy and he's able to move around the pocket and stand tall and hit his passes. And that's what's making the offense gel or in rhythm. And then, of course, the running backs can move the ball, gain some yardage, gain those first downs. And defensively, the Chargers have been a surprise also, holding teams down, albeit they almost let the Bengals come way back. But sometimes I think when you're up that much, you go into prevent mode and you just want the game to end. And fortunately, they came away with the win on that one. Ravens, on the other hand, to Zay's point, defensively, it's not the Ravens defense that we're used to seeing last couple 2 or 3 years. They are struggling on the back end, their secondary, and that's where I think Herbert will be able to expose the Ravens to get this win and the cover. So I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one at +3. I think it's a good spot for them.
Right. You mentioned about the Chargers and getting up big in this game and then kind of playing, what did you say, like preventive?
Yeah, like this prevent, like NFL teams, they just they get up so much and they get out of rhythm offensively. They're
Yeah,
not doing the same things that they did to gain that lead, right? To really crush a team.
right.
And they go back just to running and playing very conservative instead of just playing their game plan. And
Yeah.
that's what almost cost them. And I think a lot of the teams in the NFL, not only the Chargers, to the example we're talking about, but a lot of NFL teams do that. That's why, at times, teams get that backdoor cover that we always speak about, the last two possessions of the game. But this game in particular, I think the Chargers need to play a complete game to really defeat the Ravens, and I hope they do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Eagles slightly did it last week, last Thursday against the Commanders.
It happened.
Saquon scored them 2 touchdowns. I was breathing easy, kicking back, checking
Yeah,
Facebook through the game, enjoying football, just enjoying it. But then, Zach Ertz gets that 2-point conversion. I'm like, hold on now.
yeah. Hey, we saw the Eagles do that against the Jags also earlier in the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Up big, and then let's get him back. Not that I'm mad it cost me anything, but I was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's surprising though that a team that Harbaugh coaches would do that. Yeah, so that's surprising, but yeah, that game again, like I said, was a tough one to take.
Yeah.
Big Zay, you have a third pick for us?
I do. And speaking of the greatest team in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going with them at -2.5 against the Rams. Man, there's not much to say, but I'm not trying not to be really biased and go off the rail here, but man, the Eagles,
Yeah,
the
yeah, you
Eagles,
are.
the Birds are hot right now, and we are playing very, very, very good football. Jalen Hurts is looking like MVP form. Saquon Barkley is jumping over people sideways, backwards, doing spins in the air, looking like Spider-Man. I mean, the team is finally gelled together, and it was funny. I was telling my wife the other night, you watch them on the sideline, and I see all the TikToks and their social media posts, and this team is gelling like them Super Bowl run teams were gelling. I mean, on and off the field. It's a beautiful thing to see. I think the Eagles win big time in prime time.
What are your thoughts on this game, El Gato?
Yeah, I like the Eagles here at -2.5. They won 6 straight. And to Zay's point, 8 weeks ago, they were dogging the Eagles coach for not getting the most out of his team. But somehow, and I forget what game it was, that things just finally started clicking. Barkley started running, or the offensive line started gelling, creating holes. The wideouts, wide receivers for the Eagles, causing issues for the defensive game plan of the opposing team. And look what they're doing now. Over 30 points a game the last 6 games. You got the combination of Barkley, a running back, AJ and Smith at the wideouts. You got Hurts at the quarterback spot. You got a strong Eagles defensive line. I can go on and on and on and on. But they still have to play the game, right? That's what we all say. They're playing a Rams team that is also capable of winning some games. They've got a capable defense. They've got Stafford. Let's not forget how he can throw the ball and hit his receivers. And the Rams also have capable offensive guys. It's going to be a very close game, I'm thinking, maybe even high scoring. But I think with the Eagles defense, it's going to be just a little bit too much for the Rams to overcome. And I'll take that field goal and the -2.5 for the Eagles. I'll go with the Eagles on this one.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. Eagles are looking good. Rams are kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde team. You don't
Yeah,
know who you're going to get.
right.
So on this one, I'm going to not go with a side. I'm going to go with the over 49. You just mentioned you think it's going to be high scoring game, Elgato. I hope it is. Both teams are loaded with offensive weapons. I think that both teams are going to move the ball up and down the field. So I'm going with the over 49.
Very good. I like that one.
Do you have a fourth pick for us, Elgato?
I do. I've got the Denver Broncos playing the Las Vegas Raiders. And, the Raiders have coming off so far 6 straight losses. Can't find any rhythm or consistency on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they do have a good front four. They're able to rush the quarterback and make some stops, but the rest of their defense, linebackers and secondary, is what's costing them these games, and that's why they've lost 6 straight. Denver, on the other hand, got a big win against Atlanta. Should have beat the Chiefs. Held the Chiefs down to 16 points, 14 points, whatever that was. So defensively, Denver can, play with the best of them, and that's what's keeping them in these games and keeping them, in the race for that division. At Denver at -6, Bo Nix playing well, managing the game, extending drives with his feet, but most importantly, he's protecting the football. He's not making a bunch of turnovers. He's not fumbling in the pocket. I think this will be a pretty easy win for Denver. At least on paper, it should be. I'll take Denver -6, expecting about a 10-point win for Denver.
What are your thoughts on this game, Big Zay?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Elgato on this one. Denver's defense, one of the best defenses in the league right now. Potential defense player of the year with Patrick Surtain and the defensive back. And also on the offensive side, Elgato mentioned it. Bo Nix is playing some pretty good ball. I believe last week, I think he had 4 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. This rookie quarterback is not really looking so much like a rookie. And it was kind of a pretty controversial pick whenever they drafted him, but it's turning out to look pretty good for the Broncos. Yeah, the Broncos they're rolling right now. I'm gonna go with the Broncos on this one.
Yeah, this is a big division game. Like y'all said, Denver and Bo Nix, they are one of the surprise teams this year, but they have lost their last 2 road games. They also struggle putting up points at times. I
Yeah.
think it'll be a closer game than what it looks like on paper. I think Denver wins, but they don't cover. So I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going with the Raiders. I think the Raiders defense will keep this game close. So give me the Raiders. You have a fifth pick for us, El Gato?
Yes, I've got one more pick here. I've got Miami -7 playing the New England Patriots. Now, Miami has, they won two straight after dropping a couple. New England, of course, have the rookie quarterback Drake May playing decent, but not all that well complementary to what the defense is playing on the New England side. Miami offense looking really good since Tua got back. Their running game with A-Chain producing explosive runs, extending drives, getting third down conversions. Of course, we know what they have at the wide receiver spot with Tyreek Hill and Waddle. I think New England's defense is going to have some issues on the backside trying to guard these two guys. And with Tua finally getting in rhythm, it's going to be a challenge for New England to keep up. So that -7 sounds like a big spot or big spread when I first looked at it. But when I started thinking about what Tua and the Miami offense can produce and going up and down the field, and New England's challenges defensively, I think this is about a 10 or 13 point game Miami's way. So that -7 looks pretty good for me. I'll take Miami.
What are your thoughts on this game, Big Zay?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with I got the Dolphins winning this one and winning it big. That Patriots defense ain't gonna be able to contain this Dolphins offense. They got one good defensive back, Christian Gonzalez, the second-year player. But the thing about it is that Dolphins have way too many weapons, way too much speed for the Patriots defense, and I think that Mike McDaniel opens it up this game. I think the Dolphins win by, like Elgato said, more double-digit points in my opinion. And so I would do the points and also the over. It's just both simple answers for me. Just the over and the points.
All right.
Well, I agree with both of y'all. I'm taking the Dolphins as well. Dolphins have found their groove with Tua back. A-Chain and Mostert in the back, good
Yeah.
running backs. They've got great wide receivers. Patriots are playing well, but Dolphins have too much offense. So this is going to be a tough road game for the Patriots. I am going with the Dolphins.
All right. I like that one.
All right, guys, we're at that point. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, Angela, I want to talk about the Cowboys just for a little bit and
Sure.
how poorly they played against the Texans. That game started off in a way that is, I'm trying to find some nice words, but if there was a game that the Cowboys should have come out really fired up to try to turn their season around, it should have been on Monday night. But they didn't come out ready to play, it seemed like, because right before the Texans had that long pass play for a touchdown, Troy Aikman almost called it, right there, because he said the Texans, what if they score on this first possession on a long offensive play? And sure enough, it was a penalty. They brought it back, but you know what? The Texans still went down the field and scored on another big explosive play by Mixon, 45-yard run. And then from there, Texans got up, and it seemed like to me, and I'm sure everyone that was watching the game, the Cowboys didn't want to play that game. And that's kind of weird because, they're supposed to be, right, America's team. They had all these players coming back to try to turn the season around. But if I want to extend that to the game that's coming up against Washington, now Washington, they've lost a couple of games. They were right up there with the Eagles in the division. It's a must-win for Washington. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jaden Daniels has a comeback game, a get-right game, and Washington just takes out their last couple of weeks of frustration out on the Cowboys, who are going to be either -3 starters or up to 4 starters on the offensive line. They've got a couple of defensive linemen that are dinged up that aren't going to play or don't want to play. And then you've got some other players on that team that are just seem like they're just there for a paycheck and just going through motions. That usually spells disaster for a team. I know the spread is at 10.5, -10.5 Washington. This could easily be a 14, 17 point win. What do y'all think?
I see
Yeah.
Big Zay just ready to talk. I
Let
see
me
him
cook.
just ready.
Let me
Come on,
cook.
Big
Let me
Zay.
cook. You know what?
He's ready to cook somebody.
Everything about Dallas is falling apart. Their team, their coach,
Stadium.
the stadium is falling apart, and I am here for it. I am here for it,
Love it.
man. And you know what? I'm looking right now with a 10.5. That spread could honestly should be bigger. Dallas sucks. The over and under is 45.5. That's gonna get the bet the over because Washington's gonna take care of that by themselves. I
Oh,
think
damn.
this game this week, Washington's gonna play pissed off, coming off 2 straight losses. It's gonna be a bad day to be a Cowboy. Bad day to be a Cowboy. Go Birds. Go Birds. We're not even playing in this game, but go Birds. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I really think Jaden Daniels is going to light it up. And he wants to light it up against the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh,
What
yeah.
better team for him to get right
Yep.
against the Cowboys? So yeah, I agree with y'all. I think it's going to be a interesting game to watch. I don't know if y'all saw the picture of Lamb and Diggs out after the terrible loss, and I'm just sitting there thinking, why? But
They're having fun.
they're having fun.
Big contracts. Big
yeah,
contracts.
big contracts.
Not a
having
worry in
fun.
the world.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. Well, if you've made it to this point in our podcast, we just want to thank you. Be sure to hit the subscribe and like button on our YouTube channel. You can also find us wherever you get your favorite podcast. Thank you to Big Zay for joining us today.
Appreciate you guys bringing me back. I always love it.
Thanks, Big Zay. Hey, next week we'll have a virtual podcast because of the holiday. And I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. You guys, I hope y'all have a great Thanksgiving. And as always, thank you to El Gato for being part of 5 Picks and a Chick. 1, 2, 3, bet.
That's
And that's
a
a wrap.